Good morning, welcome to Channel 44. It's a beautiful morning here at the Cathedral at Channel 44. I am Mercy Gashegu Sembatia to bring you this morning's news update live here on Channel 44. I'll later be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. We'll start with what's happening around us. Government to recruit 4,900 extension workers. The recruitment is to facilitate the parish development model. Details are on page 3 of today's New Vision. And also on the NSSF saga, Parliament probe team summons Biarugaba. Get yourself a copy. You'll know the details on page 7. And Finance orders public service payroll audit. Finance Minister Matia Kasaija has ordered a special audit into the payroll for public servants and pensioners by government ministries, departments and agencies. That's a small tip that you can have, and details are on page 8. Museveni opposes repatriation of foreign suspects. President Yoweri Museveni is seen interacting with Lady Justices Angelina Mensah Homia and Afia Sarah Asare Botwe from the Court of Appeal of Ghana during the opening of the Judges' Conference at Mestil Hotel in Kampala yesterday. The President also was Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo. Details on page 5 of today's New Vision. The New Vision brings you tips on choosing the best secondary school as they bring you 2 pages of PLE stars all over the country in today's New Vision. Up to the Daily Monitor, government has no power on school fees. That's according to lawyers. The Land Friends say the proclamations by government officials that educational institutes that increase school fees face action are nothing but shadow boxing because the repercussions are not steeped into the law. They bring their explanations on page 4 and page 5 of today's Daily Monitor. And NSSF probe kicks off today with workers, a whistleblower, and the ICC to slap more charges against rebel leader Kony. The Daily Monitor also brings you the Judges' Conference. Don't peg delivery of justice on money, Museveni tells judges. He's seen here with Chief Justice Alfonso Winnie-Dolo with other judges during the opening of the 24th Annual Judges Conference in Kampala yesterday. Police issues strict guidelines to schools, rules and regulations. The police have issued a raft of safety measures to be adhered to by parents and schools to guarantee learners' safety as learning institutions reopen for the first term. The schools are opening next week, and the police, Uganda Police, has issued guidelines. There are tenders, deals at PAU, Baloa, EACOP, UNHCR, URA, KPMG, CPP, and many others in today's Daily Monitor. Off to our international news update. I'll now be joined by Livingstone Kawesi for sign language interpretation and translation. Well, we'll start with what's happening in neighboring Kenya. The government has launched a police unit to protect its water resources against vandalism and tourism. Kenya's Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki said that all critical water infrastructure would now be under the protection of the Critical Infrastructure Police Unit, CIPU. Making the announcement, Professor Kindiki said that there had been attempts to access this infrastructure by criminals for economic reasons and to attack their country's security. In recent years, Kenya has faced constant attack and threats of attack, especially from the Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab, whose raids on schools, public places and public transport have killed hundreds of people. Additionally, Kenya's critical infrastructure, which includes water reservoirs like forests and dams, have been the subject of vandalism and illegal occupation by squatters, which the Water Ministry says has been costing the country millions of dollars annually. Paul Rono, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, said that Kenya intended to build close to 100 huge dams and more than 1,000 smaller ones in the coming years. Off to Congo, Pope Francis is today expected to land in the DRC, home to the largest Roman Catholic community in Africa, for a 3-day visit. It is more than 37 years since the previous Pope, John Paul II, visited the country when it was called Zaire. The authorities in the country have declared Wednesday a public holiday in the capital, Kinshasa, to allow Catholics to attend a mass led by Pope Francis at Ndolo Airport. Pope Francis has asked for prayers for the journey ahead of his departure. The pontiff will stay in Kinshasa until Friday before traveling to South Sudan's capital, Juba, where he will be joined by his Anglican counterpart, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and by the Church of Scotland moderator. However, there has been some controversy surrounding the Catholic leader's visit to Kinshasa, and some market workers in the city have been told to dismantle their stalls to make roads tidy before the Pope's arrival. This has left some people feeling aggrieved. And in the Middle East, at least 59 people have been killed by a suicide bombing that apparently targeted policemen praying in a mosque in Peshawar, Pakistan. The mosque is within the tightly guarded police headquarters areas. According to the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, terrorists wants to create fear by targeting those who perform the duty of defending Pakistan. The Pakistani Taliban denied involvement after an initial claim by one of its commanders. The group ended a ceasefire in November, and violence has been on the rise since. In the United States, Congressman James Comer has the new Republican chair of House Oversight Committee said yesterday that the influence peddling by President Joe Biden's family would be a top investigatory priority for him, starting with hearings next week. The president and his family have denied any wrongdoing in overseas business dealings, and Donald Trump's children have also been accused of conflicts of interest in lucrative business deals overseas. Mr. Comer said yesterday that the Trump administration had a problem with influence peddling, mentioning Mr. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Specifically, Mr. Kushner has also denied any wrongdoing. Investigations into Joe Biden's personal finances, including the international business dealings of his son Hunter Biden, are just one item on the ambitious agenda Mr. Comer has set out over recent weeks. Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro has applied for a 6-month U.S. tourist visa, according to his lawyer. Mr. Bolsonaro has been staying in Florida since 30th December. The former president plans to stay in the U.S. while immigration officials process the visa. He is under investigation in Brazil after Reuters stormed key government buildings early this month. Mr. Bolsonaro has voiced regret for the unrest, but denies he caused it. In the United Kingdom, the economy will shrink and perform worse than other advanced economies as the cost of living continues to hit households, according to the International Monetary Fund. The IMF said the economy will contract by 0.6% in 2023 rather than grow slightly as previously predicted. However, the IMF also said that after the autumn statement, it thinks the UK economy is now on the right track. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said the UK outperformed many forecasters last year. In its World Economic Outlook update, the IMF, which works to stabilize economic growth, said the UK's gross domestic product GDP would shrink rather than grow by 0.3% this year. And in the United States, 3 Memphis Fire Department workers have been fired amid an investigation into a motorist's death that has shocked the whole of the United States. Officials said 2 paramedics and a driver who responded to the scene did not provide Mr. Nichols adequate care. He was punched, kicked, and hit with a baton after being pulled over for an alleged traffic violation. 5 policemen have been fired and charged with murder. It emerged on Monday. 2 others have been suspended. Memphis officials said the 3 sacked fire department workers, Robert Long, Jamaica Sandridge, and Lieutenant Michelle Whitaker, had failed to conduct an adequate patient assessment of Mr. Nichols. And finally, still in the United States, U.S. President Joe Biden has ruled out sending F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine, despite renewed calls from Ukrainian officials for air support. Asked by a reporter on Monday if the U.S. would be providing the planes, Mr. Biden replied simply no. His comment comes a day after Germany's leader also ruled out sending fighter jets. Ukraine has said it needs the jets to take control of its airspace in its going war with Russia. F-16 Fighting Falcons are widely considered one of the world's most reliable fighter jets and are used by other countries such as Belgium and Pakistan. Well, that brings us to the end of this morning's news update. Thank you for watching Channel 44. The Pastors Now program is coming on with men of God that are bringing you testimonies and the powerful works of God that have been happening here at the Miracle Center Cathedral. So stay tuned to Channel 44. I also remind you that we are still helping the people of Karamoja. Yesterday, URA joined the Robert Kayanja Bucket Initiative in sending help and needs to the people of Karamoja. You too can join us by bringing your seed to the Miracle Center Cathedral during the services, or you can bring it at the church reception. Alternatively, you can send it to the mobile money number that will be displayed on your screen as the services are going on, and your life will not remain the same again. Alternatively, you can just bring something for the people of Karamoja. It could be clothes, shoes, groceries, or anything that will help resuscitate that situation in Karamoja. Already something good is being done, and we thank God for it. So be part of it once again, and let's bless the people of Karamoja. Enjoy your morning. The pastors are up next. God bless you.